Hello everyone, welcome to a bike frame check by 44 Bikes. Today we are going to be talking about our very first 44 Bikes bike frame. Well, if you have been watching our socials, this frame is very much different from the fews that you have been seeing. It's made much stronger, tougher, stiffer, and this hardcore hardtail frame can actually handle like enduro downhill trails. Well, that is if you dare to do it on a hardtail. Okay, this frame has its geometry customized to one of our customers. So let's call him Benji. So Benji is quite a tall guy, standing at about 1.81 meters. He's a regular trail rider who rides maybe 3 to 4 times a week in his late 40s. And he actually enjoys climbing as much as descending. So he also owns a very capable full suspension trail bike and a gravel bike, but he's looking for something, a capable hardtail that he can use to spice up his rides and also a little bit make it a little bit more exciting on familiar local trails. So Benji wanted his hardtail to be a long travel hardtail that is almost as capable as his Forbidden Druid for fast descents and yet very efficient and light for commuting to work. So he also wants the bike to be agile enough for hops, jumps and stair rides and for some urban commuting and urban tricks. So there is no better choice than an exotic custom titanium hardtail. So when Benji knew that we could provide such a bike for him, he wasted no time. So being an experienced rider for almost 30 years, Benji knew what he wanted. And he specifically told us that he wanted his titanium hardtail to ride almost like his Forbidden Druid V2 without the rear shock. So he wanted his hardtail to be long enough for stability and also low on the front end so that he can climb well on it. So whatever he told us was quite vague. So we had to sit down with him over a few cups of teh o and kopi and interrogated him to find out what he actually wants and how he was going to ride his new hardtail. So we also know that he's going to be rough and heavy and tough on the bike. So therefore, we recommended a tougher bike for him, which is the Vibe. So upon seeing the design of the frame, Benji fell in love with it at first sight. So he was praising the angled top tube that runs down to the chainstay in a straight line. So this reminded him a lot of an old street bike that he used to have with an exceptionally low standover clearance for jumps and for those sketchy moments on the trail. So we started the design process by referring to the geometry chart of his favorite bike, Forbidden Druid V2, in size S4, which has quite a long reach of 480 mm. Well, we cannot simply just cut and paste this number into the custom hardtail that we are designing for him, as the reach will feel different on a hardtail. So on a hardtail, the reach of the bike changes dynamically when the fork compresses into its travel. So this stretches the bike longer and also it steepens the head tube as the fork compresses. So to account for this, we reduce the reach to 465 mm. So that creates a more suitable starting point for the hardtail frame. So when the front fork is at sag point, the reach should extend to be about 475 mm, which is pretty close to what he's having on his regular bike. Well, although the reach became shorter on this bike, we still kept the effective top tube length, or the ETT, similar to his current familiar bike at sag point. So when he's doing seated pedaling on his new 44 bike, it will be no different from his regular favorite bike. So Benji wanted the option of using a 140 to 150 mm travel fork. So we adjusted the BB height accordingly at about 315 mm. Well, this dimension is quite conservative. It's low enough to be stable and yet not too low for it to easily hit rocks. Well, the chainstay length on this bike is rather long at about 443 mm. So this was requested by Benji as he likes a longer wheelbase, and also having a longer chainstay length also has its advantages too, especially for a taller rider. So this keeps the rider in the bike within the wheelbase, and that encourages stability, especially when the rear wheel starts bouncing around and misbehaving due to the lack of suspension at the rear. So although this Vibe frame is much burlier than the Fuse that you have been seeing, the weight penalty incurred is just only about 200 grams more. So this particular frame with a reach of 465 mm weighs just under 1.7 kg, which is quite impressive for a Thai frame. So like the Fuse, the front triangle is made up of grade 5 Thai alloy, or some people know it as Thai 64 alloy, which is a more expensive but stronger and stiffer. So that's exactly what we need on the front triangle. And the rear triangle is made up of grade 9 Thai alloy, or some of us know it as Thai 325 alloy, which is a more supple and compliant material. So this blend of Thai alloy on our frame provides the stiffness of a carbon frame when pedaling and the suppleness of a typical titanium frame for comfort. Okay, so this full build that you're seeing here is specced with a carbon wheel set, carbon bars, trail tires, a 180 mm wired dropper with a wireless drivetrain. So it's a mixture of parts from Benji's parts bin and some new parts purchased from our favorite shopkeeper at PM Cycles. So this bike weighs about 11.6 kg, which is very impressive for a strong and burly bike frame. Well, so speccing up this frame was not too difficult as Benji knew exactly the components he wanted on the bike. So we went for a robust Thai alloy rear D dropout. So instead of UDH, yeah. And of course, typical Boost 12 mm axle at the rear, and integrated headset at the front for a cleaner look. So as Benji intends to also use his Vibe to commute to work, he has also requested for pannier rack mounts. And yes, we can do that for you as well. So these are the pannier rack mounts. And he also asked for additional mounts under the top tube so that he can mount his utility bag. Well, hope you have learned a little more about our bikes and the details that we look into to build your custom 44 bike frame. Well, every 44 bike frame is a process of conversations with us, planning, and carefully balancing the different geometry numbers to give the bike frame the character that you're looking for. We will be posting a full review on the bike very soon, so do look out for it. So if you are ever interested in an exotic customized bike, you can find us through DM on our socials. And we also have a demo bike in a generic medium size for you to try and have a feel on how a titanium hardtail feels like, and that is available at PM Cycles. So for more information, you can also take a look at our website or follow our updates on Instagram. I'll see you at the trails.
This is the hard friend. Very, very hard friend indeed.